The Tennessee Volunteers are going bowling, maybe even to something as prestigious as the Gator Bowl. However, they haven't turned the corner to the elite status of yore. Hi everybody, I'm Marky Billson, and yes, for the first time in 3 years, the Tennessee Volunteers will be going bowling. There are some projections that have them playing, let's say, Iowa in the Gator Bowl. I've always thought the Gator Bowl was a rather prestigious bowl. It's second tier, but of the second tier bowls, history lesson. I was always disappointed back in 1986, 1987 that the Gator Bowl did not get the national championship game between Penn State and Miami, who were both then independents. Instead, they went to the Fiesta Bowl, and I thought the Gator Bowl's prestige could have taken off if they could have bid for that game, but the Fiesta Bowl outbid them, and much to the chagrin of the Miami Hurricanes, who lost to Penn State after leaving Florida. So, what can you say? But, no, the situation is that certainly not even the Gator Bowl is set in stone by any means. And one of the reasons why is because although the Vols are now going to go on a pretty nice winning streak, looks like 5 games to end the season, assuming a victory against 3-8 Vanderbilt, well, they won't have defeated an SEC team this year that has a winning regular season record. Now that's assuming that Louisville, who's 7-4, beats Kentucky, who's 6-5. But even so, Tennessee has gotten fat on the bottom feeders of the SEC, and certainly the SEC East. So a long way away from getting to the elite status of the SEC. This is not to say that the victory against Missouri was not impressive, but then again, the victory against Missouri was the 5th straight loss for Missouri. Still, though, lots of things to like. For one thing, the constant pass rush. The front 7 of the Tennessee Volunteers looking very good. Didn't allow the Tigers as many as 3 yards a rush. And also, although the Vols only recorded 2 sacks, they were constantly in quarterback Kelly Bryant's face, if you will, constantly giving him pressure all game long. I was impressed, in fact, that Bryant was able to put up 20 points under that pass rush, and they did it without Darnell Taylor getting a sack, and also with Aubrey Solomon leaving the game early. Also, let's face facts, the wide receiver tandem of Jennings and Callaway have carried the Tennessee Volunteers this year, and Saturday was no exception. But that's one of the reasons why I think that the Vols might be, well, could they tumble next year? Because Jennings and Callaway are not coming back. And that is the loss of probably the 2 best players on the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, Jared Guarantano threw for more than 400 yards, first time in his college career. Over at allfortennessee.com, Caleb Calhoun has even made the argument that it is the best game a Vols quarterback has ever had because Missouri came in with a pretty good pass defense, at least in the national rankings. It isn't the greatest game a Tennessee Volunteers quarterback has ever had. No, I'm sorry. He threw 17 incomplete passes. He was able to, hit over the middle a Jennings, who would then go on to a big game, but he's also missing swing passes. And without Jennings and without Callaway, I do start to wonder about the Vols next year. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think that they are about ready to turn the corner to elite status. Next year there are 4 losses on the schedule. Oklahoma and certainly Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. We all know that. But will the Vols, without Jennings and Callaway, be able to defeat a improved South Carolina team, let's just ask, or a Missouri next time out, or somebody like that? It's debatable and such. And one of the reasons why I think it's debatable is because I sense that Jeremy Pruitt is growing arrogant. And, I really don't think that he's coaching that well, despite the winning streak. I don't think he's being honest, and I think he's being so aggressive with his players, one wonders if he's 2 steps away from being Woody Hayes. Let me just give you an example here. Was anybody fooled by Jeremy Pruitt listing, oh, it could be Jarrett Guarantano or Brian Maurer on the depth chart? Did anybody really think that Guarantano wasn't going to start? So why list it that way? Because if you are splitting time in practice, well, why are you so indecisive? What has Maurer done that Guarantano has not equaled? Certainly in the Kentucky game, Guarantano earned his chance to start, as he has now earned his chance to start for the remainder of the year, no matter what he does against Vanderbilt. But who are you kidding by not listing Guarantano and Guarantano alone on the depth chart? Quarterbacks themselves, both Maurer and Guarantano, have to wonder where they stand. And if Guarantano really was splitting time with Maurer in practice, then that's why Guarantano threw 17 incomplete passes. If he wasn't, then Jeremy Pruitt is lying about it could be either or, and that's never a good look. Also not a good look getting physical with his players. Look, Sean Schamberger's jersey that dragged him around after taking the penalty in the fourth quarter. Again, it seems like Jeremy Pruitt is about this close away from being Woody Hayes. He's got the personality, of course, very soft-spoken. I mean, I've said the Jeremy Pruitt show is difficult to watch, in fact, on Sunday mornings. Soft-spoken personality, and it is. It's like, everybody who goes berserk that you've ever heard. And here he goes berserk, grabbing Jarrett Guarantano's face mask when he calls an audible that doesn't go well against Alabama, or, Schomburger taking the penalty, or whatever. I mean, it's the same sort of, he was soft-spoken, he kept to himself, and then he goes crazy. It's that same type of personality. It is not a good look. It really needs to stop, and I will ask you this. If Jarrett Guarantano didn't have his face mask grabbed onto by Pruitt in the Alabama game, we now have heard that Guarantano received death threats. Really? For calling an audible? Honestly? You've got to wonder, though, if Tennessee fans would go that far if there wasn't also the visual of the coach going nuts and grabbing the face mask. You wonder if there would have been that reaction if it wasn't just, frustration. Hey, you don't do that again. If I call a play, you go with it and all that. Then again, if you do that, you're taking a lot of the quarterback's effectiveness away from him. He's got to be able to call an audible when he's out there. But even things like Jeremy Pruitt allowing Bryce Thompson to come back onto the team. One of the reasons why Kelly Bryant was able to engineer 2 touchdown drives, and remember, Missouri hadn't scored a touchdown since October. 30-odd drives, no touchdowns. One of the reasons why was because of Bryce Thompson. Despite the pass rush that Tennessee put out, Jalen Knox was able to burn a sleeping Thompson for a 33-yard catch that set up Missouri's first touchdown of the game. And, you've got to ask yourself, boy, where would the Vols be without Bryce Thompson? It's good that they let someone who threatened to shoot up the school on the team. You see the lack of discipline that we're talking about here? And yes, I know Thompson had 3 interceptions against UAB, but if you need Bryce Thompson to beat UAB, then you see why I am saying that Tennessee is nowhere close to being an elite program. Bottom line is, yes, the Vols front 7 is impressive, but this winning streak isn't turning the program around. I don't think it's scaring anybody in the SEC. Oh, look, they beat the bottom feeders. Wow. Tennessee is now the 3rd place team. It may have put them, at least for the time being, ahead of Missouri in SEC East hierarchy. But again, you're talking about a program that's about ready to go 7-5 and not go to a non-New Year's Day bowl. And that's starting to look good for Tennessee fans. That should tell you how far the program has fallen and how far it needs to go. And you've got to wonder if this winning streak against the second-tier teams of the SEC has come because of Jeremy Pruitt, or really, despite him. I'm Marky Billson.